Happy feast of St. Augustine. We give thanks for the great teaching of St. Augustine and for the example of his life, especially his conversion. These days, I think we're all longing for plenty of things. In the midst of so many restrictions, I think most of us look forward to the day we're free of those. I think we long for greater freedom all the time. There are always things that restrict us, always things that inhibit our true happiness. And those longings really tell us a lot about how God made us. Augustine's famous saying that our hearts are restless until they rest in God is so true throughout the day. I think our longings, even though some get distorted, often are an expression of our desire for God. And so if we can get underneath our desires, if we can get beneath the surface of that longing, often it can tell us so much about how we're longing for God. And we can let that longing for God come to the surface or be purified or remind us of our desire for holiness, not just our sense of obligation to be holy, but our desire for it, because that's how God has made us. Jesus says in the gospel today about the 5 foolish and the 5 wise virgins that we're all called to stay awake. And I think that's what our desire helps us to do. It keeps us awake, it keeps us alert, and it sharpens our longing for God. It's a great expression of what Augustine says, that we really are longing for God. And God has placed that longing there to draw us to God. And it is mirrored by God's desire for us. And the good news, as I ponder all that this morning, God doesn't just meet us halfway in his longing for us. God really comes to make a dwelling among us, because God's desire for us is that great. And God hopes that when we encounter God's presence, we in turn respond with our own desire to be with God.